Okay, so once you come to this dashboard, click on circuits in the left hand side panel. You will see circuits. Click on circuits and click create new circuit. Right? I'll go again. Once you register your account and log in, you should be entering into this dashboard, Tinkercad's dashboard. Here on the left hand side, you'll see a panel where you have to click circuits, and there click create new circuit. And you'll reach here. Here, this is our workspace. Fine. So if everybody is fine with this, I think I can start with my presentation. Welcome to our first workshop out of 4 workshop series. This is the first workshop, Introduction to Arduino and Communication Protocols, and I am Sanjeev Krishnan from Architecture third year, and I have been associated with Mars since past 2.5 years, and right from my first year. Sorry.
Sir, now we have to log in dashboard. Just now.
Just keep it
Or
ready so that
later.
that time you people were free, so I just wanted to keep you people ready. So keep it ready,
Okay.
and you can come and see the presentation. When I ask you to go work, I'll tell you how to work, what to work, everything, and then you can go and proceed with your tasks.
Okay. Sir.
Okay. So I'm Sanjeev Krishnan from Architecture third year, and I am part of Mars Electronics team. So this is the first workshop, Introduction to Arduino and Communication Protocols. So the first part is Arduino. And one more thing which I want to tell here is there are so many tutorials available online, right? So what makes this thing special for you people is we can interact basically. You can ask doubts, like here itself, you can ask your doubts, you can clarify it. And further also, you can ask us, you can reach out to us regarding the workshop and the doubts you have in the workshop. So make it interactive, get the most from this workshop. Okay. So what do you people know about Arduino? What is an Arduino?
It is basically a microcontroller board.
Okay.
Write some code in the Arduino IDE and make it happen on the board.
Okay, fine. So basically, you people are correct. Arduino is an open source platform used for building electronics projects. Basically, it is a circuit board or a development board. We can develop projects like development boards are like usually if you see in your in any of the electronic goods in your home, you will see special PCB boards, specially made for that particular good, right? So they are specially made for that, and they'll have only the functions necessary for the functioning of that good. So Arduino is basically a development board where you can develop multiple projects. Like you have all the facilities, all the functions, all the pins are ready to develop any kind of projects you need to do. Okay, so Arduino has two components basically. One is the physical hardware or the development board or the circuit board, this board, and the second thing is IDE, the software. The like IDE is also known as integrated development environment. So like when you run C++, that Turbo C is an IDE. And like PyCharm, when you run Python, when you like people who knows coding might be having some idea. PyCharm is an IDE where we develop codes and when we run it and we test it. Okay, so Arduino has a software side, the Arduino IDE, where we write codes and we can compile it, and the other side is the physical hardware where we make circuits connections, and these two will be connected. Like we can upload our code to the Arduino board, and accordingly it functions. So this is a very rough idea. So we'll learn in detail now. So first of all, first thing is let's see rough sketch of the Arduino board. This is a Mega board. There are many boards. There are three common boards. One is Mega, Arduino Mega. Another one is Arduino Uno, and the smallest one is Arduino Nano. So just the size difference is the size and the number of pins, the functionality. Okay, so so here this central part is the microcontroller. Okay, so this is the latest edition. Like in latest editions, you will see microcontrollers. Like if you go back a little bit behind, you will see registers here, ICs. So now it is microcontroller. Like here, this is like the brain, like how you have microprocessor for your computer. Similarly, we have a microcontroller. Microcontroller is something similar to microprocessor, but it works in a less complicated way. So the exact difference I'll tell you as we move further. So this is the microcontroller, the brain of Arduino, we can say. Like the code gets uploaded here and the computation happens here. Everything happens here. The control is from this place, this black space. And apart from that, we have array of pins. This is like everything, like because all the sensors, your actuators. Basically, the first thing is sensor means anything senses the environment, like your photoresistors. You might have studied this in your 12th standard. Photoresistors, photoresistors or potentiometers, whatever things which senses things from outside, which like the mechanical energy or sound energy or light energy, all these things, converting it into electronics based electrical energy, electrical signals basically. These things are called sensors. And actuators, converting the electrical signals into physical motions, mechanical energy or sound energy, light energy. So your LED is an actuator, like it produces light energy. So it takes signal from Arduino and it produces it as light energy. It's an actuator. Motor is an DC motor is an actuator. So this is what a sensor and actuator is. So all these sensors, actuators are connected to this array of pins, this black pins. All these are pins. So these pins are important, and here is like here only we attach the pins, the sensors and actuators. And here we have power pins. So the power input, power output, all these things happens here. Basically, Arduino works with 5 voltage. Arduino Mega works with 5 volt. Arduino Mega and Arduino Uno works with 5 voltage. We have to give in 5 voltage. So here you can see the V in pin. V in is for voltage in. So we can give 5 volt input to this pin, and the Arduino will start working. Similarly, this black color socket is again power input, power supply pin. Like we can give input to this through this pin also. This is like the mobile chargers which you have. The barrel pin, like we call it barrel pin. The barrel pin can be plugged into this socket to give power supply. So you can either give through this way, or you can give through this way, or the another way is through USB. Here, this is the USB pin, USB pin, where you connect your laptop and your board. Any doubt?
Sir, so these plugs are used to give power to the Arduino or from the Arduino?
This black color barrel socket is to give power into Arduino, to the Arduino. Arduino needs 5 voltage. So that voltage is given through this pin, either through this socket or through this V in pin. V in for voltage input. And we can give through this USB also. USB is used, this pin is used to connect your laptop with your Arduino board. So we use USB-A. USB-A is very common in connecting printers. You would have seen like the very big square kind of pin. That is USB-A. So through this USB pin also we can give power to Arduino. And another advantage of Arduino here in the latest version is like if you give power through USB also and V in pin also simultaneously, if you are giving power through 2 different ways, then also it will not affect the board, and it gets automatically adjusted. There are mechanisms inside. So let's not go deep into it. It will be too much for you to start. Okay, so these are inputs, and then we can take power output also. Some sensors or some small modules might be needing power to run. So what happens, we can take out power also from Arduino. Like once we give power, we can take 5 voltage or 3.3 voltage as per our need from these two pins. This pin is for 5 voltage output and this pin is for 3.3 voltage output. So the Arduino, as I said, Arduino Mega has more pins and it has more opportunities basically. So if you see here, these top two pins, this is also 5 volt output pins. It is mentioned here, like everything is mentioned. So these top two pins are 5 volt output. Okay, so this, like when you see it for the first time, it might look so heavy, but as you start working with it, you will get to know all these things, and you don't have to worry about remembering all those things because it is written here. Everything 5 volt means 5 volt output, 3.3 volt means 3.3 volt output, V in means voltage input, GND is ground. Okay, so all these things are written here, and other details I'll come to those details soon. And there is another there is a LED here, inbuilt LED connected to pin 13. This LED is connected to pin 13, and this is just for kind of an just for like an add-on. Like you can use it during your code for something, maybe to test something. You can control the LED basically. This LED is controllable through code. Okay, so let's say in your code, if you have to test after executing this function, I need to indicate the users through an LED. So you don't have to put a separate LED. You can use this inbuilt LED. And apart from that, there is this on indicator, the power indicator. If your Arduino is getting power, this LED will be on. So it indicates power to Arduino. And there are other indicators. This TX-RX indicates communication, which we will learn soon. So these are all indicator LEDs, and this LED, the inbuilt LED connected to pin 13, is controllable through code or program. So this is some basic rough idea. We'll get to know more soon. So now let's do something practical. Let's yes.
So then, like, what's the difference between Arduino and Raspberry Pi?
See, Arduino and Raspberry Pi is Arduino is of basic level. Arduino can execute only one statement at a time. It's similar to your C++. Do you know C++ or Python something?
Yeah, C++.
Yes. So it is something similar to your C++ compiler. In your C++ compiler, only one statement gets compiled or one statement gets executed at single time, right?
Yes, sir.
You cannot execute or you cannot compile two or multiple statements at a time. So that is the difference. Raspberry Pi is something, it's a small scale computer, we can say. Raspberry Pi can have its own operating system. Arduino cannot have its operating system. Arduino can only take in programs, your basic Arduino programs, and execute one statement at a time. Whereas Raspberry Pi, it can have its own operating system, and can once the operating system comes into picture, you can handle multiple programs at a time. Like in your computer, you can run a video also, and you can be in Teams meeting also, right? You can check in your browser, you can run Tinkercad also, and you can listen to me also. 2 things, 3 things, multiple things can happen at the same time in computer. So Raspberry Pi is a small scale computer. You can make cheap computers out of Raspberry Pi, I can say.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you.
So now let's, anything else, any other doubt? Anybody else has any doubt?
Sir,
Yes.
Can we run the Arduino by a battery?
Yes, you can see. That's why I'm telling you, right? Like you can either give power through this V in. Acha, okay. So you are telling how can we give power? Matlab, the battery which you are seeing, which you would have seen before.
Terminals?
Sorry.
How can we connect two terminals?
Okay, the positive and the negative of battery, you are saying.
Yes, sir.
So the positive goes into V in and the negative goes into ground. Ground is your like every electronics board systems have ground. Ground is your lowest potential, right? So battery has two potential levels. One is positive. Matlab, you might have been calling it as positive terminal and negative terminal. So the positive terminal is the highest potential, negative terminal is the lowest potential, and the difference between them is the potential difference or the voltage of the battery. Same thing here. V in is your highest potential which we supply, and ground is the lowest potential.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? So I think we can move to the Tinker. Yes, yes.
So where's the ground terminal
Here
of
in
this Arduino?
in Arduino, you can see like Arduino has so many ground terminals because ground is very necessary. That I'll tell you why. Soon I'll tell you why. Ground, there are so many ground pins on the board. You can see like here there are 2 grounds. You can see here in the bottom you can see 2 grounds. Like I said, top 2 is 5 volt. Similarly, bottom 2 is ground. Like it is written over here. I think my cursor is visible to you guys, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So these bottom 2 pins are ground, and similarly there is a ground here. After 13th pin you have a ground.
Okay, sir.
Okay, fine. So let's get into the Tinkercad part, and once we do that, you'll get your doubts cleared by yourself, I guess, right? So is my screen visible of the Tinkercad screen?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now what we'll do is we'll try to blink the inbuilt LED. Okay. So the aim of the first task is to blink the inbuilt LED, right? So we don't need anything else. We just need one Arduino and a power supply. Maybe it can be connected to your laptop, or it can be connected with a battery, or it can be connected with your the DC adapter, like the mobile charger, through this way. Here in Tinkercad, you don't have to supply power. Like when you start simulating it, it automatically gets power. But generally, like we'll plug in it somewhere, right? So nothing else is needed. We are just going to actuate this inbuilt LED, this thing. And I said already, remember that this inbuilt LED is connected to pin 13. So if you have to actuate this LED, if you have to control this LED, then it means you have to control it through pin 13. Okay. So the aim is to control this LED, and the learning which we'll get out of this is that we'll understand the basic structure of the code. Okay. So now we have to write the code. Go here, go to this part. Here it might be selected as block. Select it to text in this tab. You might be like as soon as you just 1 minute. Like when you started for the first time, you will see blocks here. Change it to text. Click continue here. Change it to text. We'll write text code. We'll not go for any block diagram. And as soon as you open, you will see the blink code there. Just remove it. Don't see it. Just remove it and follow with me, or just see what I am doing. Follow with me, so that you will understand what is the structure properly, right? So basically in C++ coding, in C++ code, basically in that language, you have main function, right? Fine. So what is the purpose of main function? Main function tells the compiler where to start, which is the starting function of your code. After compiling the pre-processing variables and all, where to start. So that is the main function. Main function is the start point of your C++ code. Similarly, here you have 2 functions, like 2 part, basically we can say. One is setup part, another one is loop part. So like void setup and void loop. Okay. So it's very common, like similar to your C++ main function. Main function doesn't have any return value, like main function doesn't return anything, and main function doesn't take any parameters inside, right? Anybody who doesn't know any programming languages, C++ or Python or something? If so, I can go in detail also. Is there anyone? You don't have to be shy, because when we all came to Mars, we were also not knowing anything. We were also not used to Arduino. I saw Arduino for the first time after coming to the section. So I hope everybody knows at least the basic the programming part, right? So again, these these programs are case sensitive. It has to maintain the same, the case which I use here. If it is small, it is small. If it is caps, it is caps. Okay. So we have two functions basically, void setup and void loop. Setup is a function which gets run only once. Like like the flow starts from setup. The flow starts from setup, program flow. Whatever is inside, whatever is given inside the setup, it gets executed once, and then it goes to loop. And whatever is given inside the loop, it gets executed again and again and again. So basically, that's how the electronics things work. Like when you start some electronic component or something, some system, there are a few initial settings which gets run for one time, single time, and then a particular logic will be executed again and again and again, and that's how the components work. Similarly, here there are two functions. One is void setup and void loop. So void setup gets executed once, and void loop gets executed after setup, and it gets executed in loop, like it again and again it goes in loop. Okay. So now let's see what we'll do. In setup, we actually, as like the basic English, we like whatever we have to set up for this program to run, we do it in void setup, and whatever has to go in a loop, it will be written there in void loop, right? So in void setup, what we'll do, we'll first any doubt? No. Okay. So we'll first declare, like similarly what you do in C++ program. We declare variables. Here we declare pins, and here we declare variables too. If you want any variables in the program, we can use those variables, and we have to declare it before using it, right? So we declare pins, whatever pins we are going to use, and their mode. So because you see, like here these are digital pins, like all these pins from 0 to 13. This digital pins can be digital input also, it can be input pins also, it can be output pins also. And how it is, what is input pin, what is output pin, those we'll learn later, like very soon after this task. But as of now, just get to know this. It can be input pin also, it can be output pin also, it can do anything. So we'll tell the compiler, because again, any computing machine doesn't have intelligence, right? Artificial intelligence is a separate thing which we separately make, and we feed it into this thing. And that also, like the machine doesn't have any intelligence, we tell it how to have intelligence. Similarly, we have to tell it everything. We have to tell to it everything, everything possible, like everything needed. Then only it will function properly. Otherwise, it will get confused, right? So we'll tell it everything. What is what? Why it is being used? How to use it? Everything. So in pin mode function, what we say the pin number first, which pin number to use, and the mode. Okay, and we end it with semicolon. So how do we declare a pin? We declare pins through a function pin mode. The M is capital here, everything else is small. Pin mode.
So can
Yes.
you repeat this pin mode once? I didn't get to it.
Acha, okay. See, you know C++?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
So actually Java.
Okay, fine. Anything else? So in programming, basically what we do, like before using any variables, we in Python we don't do that, because Python is something different. Python is interpreter language. Like
Not
is
Python. Not Python.
okay, I understand. But in so what we do, we declare variables beforehand itself, because the compiler or the computing machine has to know what is that variable is. Otherwise, it will be like a random string or random character lying on the code, right? So we need to tell it exactly what I'm going to use, what is its purpose, and where I will be using it. So we declare variables in codes, right, in programming. So similarly, here we'll declare the pins. Here we are going to use LED. LED is connected to pin number 13. So which means we are going to use this pin number 13. You can see D13, right? D13 means digital 13, right? So D13. So we'll use the function pin mode, where M is capital and other letters are small. And this function has two arguments. First argument or first parameter is pin number, which is 13 here. And second parameter is the mode. So either it is input or output, everything in caps. Okay. Fine.
Okay, sir.
So this is this is what this is all about the pin mode, and we don't have anything else to set up, right? We don't have to set up anything. We are just using this input LED. We don't have anything else. So we are just setting this pin. And now what we have to do in loop, our aim is to blink the LED, which means it has to be on for some time, for some duration of time, and then it has to go off, stay off in some duration of time, again go on, stay on for some duration of time, and it has to go in loop, right? So that we'll write it in the form of code. So first thing is digital write. Okay. So digital write means we are going to give digital output. All this digital, what is digital output, what is digital input, all these things I'll teach you properly soon. Just to learn the structure of the coding, structure of the program, I'm making you guys do this. So we use digital write, a function called digital write, where W is capital, to give out digital outputs, to give outputs. So we are going to give digital output to pin number 13, right? And we are going to make it high. Fine. So high means there are two. This is the value. The second argument is value. First argument is pin number. Second argument is value. This value can be two things, either high or low, all in caps. High means it is on, low means off. Okay. So
Yes.
now 13th pin is set high through this function. Now it has to stay high for some duration of time. So what we'll do, we have to delay the execution of program. Otherwise, what will happen when you write another line, it immediately gets executed basically. So we need to delay the execution. We'll use the function delay for that, where the argument is given in microseconds. Sorry, milliseconds. Sorry, milliseconds. So 1000 milliseconds, which is nothing but 1 second. Okay. So now the execution gets delayed for 1 second. 1 second will look very, you cannot distinctly see getting blink. So we'll make it 5 seconds. So 5000 milliseconds. And then again we have to set the LED light to low value. We have to off it. So again make 13th pin low. Again delay for 5 seconds. So you can see, like, if this 4 lines go on loop, it should make this LED on and off. So what happens? First, it starts with void setup. It sets 13th pin. It makes the 13th pin ready for output, and then it comes into this loop part where first it makes the 13th pin high, which is it makes it on, and stays still for 5 seconds, 5000 milliseconds, and then again it goes off. Low is for off, and stays in that position, stays still in that position for 5 seconds. Okay. Any doubt in the structure of the code before executing? Let's clear those doubts. Any doubt in the structure?
Sir, this LED also connected with microcontroller. And when microcontroller give order, then it will also bright.
Yes. See,
and also connected with 13 pin when we want to output from 13 pin.
See, these pins are connected with microcontroller. Everything here is connected to microcontroller. In
Yes,
your body, all parts are connected to brain, right? Through veins.
Yes, sir.
So here everything is microcontroller is everything. It controls the whole board. So all the pins are connected to microcontroller.
When compiler is execute, then 13 pin give output, and then LED is bright.
Yes.
Okay, sir.
So how we will end the loop? So like if we want to execute another pattern or another, here we are executing for 5 seconds and then we want to execute for 3. So how will end the loop?
Okay, so what, like, you could basically, Arduino can have only one code. It can only have one code into its memory. Okay, so if you have to change the logic itself, let's say instead of blinking it for 5 seconds, if you have to make it blink for 3 seconds, then you have to rewrite the code. You have to rewrite the code in your laptop, upload it again into your board. Okay, this is first thing. Second thing, what we can do, matlab, again, we can use our sense, we can use our common sense, and we can make it do anything. So what we can do, we can have a, like there is a, we can have a, let's say we can have a button, like we can have a push switch somewhere, like outside. We can buy a push switch and add it here, and connect it with Arduino, maybe to some other pin. Okay. And what we can do, if I push that switch once, it should run in it should have difference, it should delay, it should have difference of 5 seconds in its blinking. If I push the switch again, it should change to 3000 milliseconds, 3 seconds. So that logic we can write in the code, and the extra hardware needed is one push switch. Right, so this is an example of how we can use our sense to do this thing. But Arduino can have only one port at a time.
Or you people can use your CPP knowledge to do this. Likewise, you can write it as, if you can declare a variable named anything, you can declare it as bool, or let's say int x is equal to 0, and you can write it as if x is equal to 0. So first code will run, that is written here, and in the end of this you can change x is equal to 1. So after this first statement of if, you can write it as else if x is equal to 1, that will run, and again you will change the conditions.
Flag like.
Yeah, you can say that.
So this is basically for that switch thing which I told. Okay, so if you are using switch, you can have this X condition. Otherwise, like you can make coding, you can do it in like same logic can be done in infinite number of ways, right? Infinite number of ways we can write the same logic. But the efficient thing is how we make it very, the execution should be fast, and the memory taken should be less. So this makes you a best programmer or an efficient programmer, right? So that, like, you just have to, when you start practicing it, you'll get used to this, and you'll get the touch of it. Fine. So I think there is no other doubt in the structure of the code. Let's see the simulation. Okay. So here on the top, you can see start simulation. You can click on it, and you can see this green LED is on, indicating the power is coming to the board. And if you see this LED, it will go on and off for 5 seconds. Is there any doubt? Any doubt in the in the things which I told till now, or any problem you face?
Explain the last part. How it executed.
How it executed?
How you ended the, I mean, how you shown the output once again, show it.
Okay. See, after writing the code, here in this part, you should be seeing start simulation. Follow my cursor. Here, you are seeing a button called start simulation. Click on it. You'll see the simulation.
Okay, sir.
Sir, I have a doubt, like in a practical way, how should we connect the wires to that to supply power, in which ports?
Okay, so I told this before also. Maybe if possible, I'll show it here. So here is your battery. Okay. So from positive, you connect it to 5. Oh, sorry. To V in. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And from negative
To ground.
to the ground. Okay. So this is one way of giving power to your Arduino, positive to V in, negative to ground. Other option is to plug in with your laptop through this USB cable. USB-A, we use like this end of the cable is USB-A, the end joining with Arduino. USB-A is common in your printer connections. And if you see your printers, you'll see USB-A, the multifunction printers basically.
Sir, both power and code can be supplied by USB.
Yes. Like as soon as you connect with your laptop, you don't have to even have the IDE on. If as soon as you connect with your laptop, power will be supplied to Arduino. But when you give in your Arduino IDE, you will see the options for so this IDE like similar, like whatever we wrote there, it is written here. Okay. And this, like if you follow my cursor, this button is for uploading. This tick mark is for compiling. If you click it, it will get compiled. If you click this button, it will get uploaded to your board. Only thing is your board has to be connected with your laptop, and there are few other things also, like your board should be connected to the same serial port basically, because those communication parts I'll come to some communication later, but as of now you can see like this. If you click the upload button, it will get uploaded in your board, and it can be done simultaneously. Power and of course your Arduino has to be powered on, then only it can receive data from your laptop. Fine. Anything else? Any other thing?
Sir?
Yes.
What's the difference between digital and analog pins?
Yes, I'll come to that. I'll come to that thing. Any doubt in the structure of the code, structure of the program, or the function of Arduino, how it functions? Okay, so I guess there is no doubt.
Sir?
Yes.
What is the use of the pin mode 13 output? What is this line doing for that?
This is setting up your pin. Like your pin should be, matlab your Arduino should know which pins are it is good. Like you know C++, right?
Yes, sir.
So there we declare variables. We tell its type, either it is int or char or like the data types we define, right?
No.
So similarly, we are
Yes,
telling
sir.
the Arduino which pin we are going to use in our program, and what type of output or sorry, what type of function it is going to handle, either output or input. Because here I told this before also, I'm repeating it. You can just see digital pins here. Like you can just see digital. There is no input or output written here, which means same pin can be used for input also, same pin can be used for output also. Okay. So to define this, whether it is going to be used for input or output in this program, we'll just set it up. We are just telling the board, the development board, that this particular pin is going to be used, and it is going to be used as output pin. Okay, so I think you people are fine with this, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. So let's move back to our presentation. Okay, so now let's see things in detail. Now coming to input pins, there are two types of input pins. One is analog input, and another one is digital input. Analog input and digital input. Analog input is like you can like the input can be of any value. Like it can be anything from, like if you see your photoresistor or a potentiometer, the input value which the board is receiving can vary between can have a range of values basically. Okay. Basically, if you see the digital systems, it only has 0 or 1, because like how computation happens in it happens through either high voltage or low voltage. Low voltage is 0, high voltage is 1. By just varying these combinations, they transfer data everywhere. If you see your fiber opticals, if you see your basic computer operations, if you see C++ programming, everything happens through this binary data, either 0 or 1, or high voltage and low voltage. So that is the basic digital systems or electronic system. If the other part is analog part. Analog is when we have a range of values. Your photoresistor gives a range of photoresistor is like resistance based on the incident light, right? So if it is having full incident of light, then it will give highest value. If it is having like zero light incident on it, then it will give the lowest value, 0 voltage. But if it is having something in between, okay, 50% incident, 60%, 70%, or 20-30, so all these have some values, and all these things can be read by the Arduino through analog inputs, analog input pins basically. Okay, so values can be anything 0 to 5 volt, like between 0 to 5 volt it can have any values. Okay, so these values are stepped to 256 numbers basically. Okay, because you're at the end the operation happens with binary values, so it needs some fixed numerical value or fixed digital value, some fixed step value to compute. So what happens, like the whole value gets stepped down into 0 to 250, like the whole value gets divided into 256 256 steps. Okay, 0 to 255. Like what I am trying to say here is 0 voltage is marked as 0 and 5 voltage is marked as 255, right? So it means like if there is an input coming as 3 voltage, if the analog input pin is receiving 3 voltage, then it means 3 by 5 into 255. Okay, so this kind of stepping is done. Okay, so in analog inputs, so if like your analog input when it comes to pin, it comes in a range of 0 volt to 5 volt, and if the sensor which giving the input is giving input above 5 volt, then it has to be reduced using resistor, because Arduino can handle only till 5 volt, right? So it has to be compressed to the range of 0 to 5 volt using resistors, and at the end of the pin it should be at 0 to 5 volt only. And once received inside, there are systems for that. There is a system called ADC, analog digital converter. So this ADC ADC divides this analog value, this 0 to 5 volt range, into 256 steps. In Arduino it is 256. In Arduino it is 256. Some other development board have some other stepping numbers depending on the register value, the bytes it can handle. Okay, so in Arduino, don't get confused with all those things. In Arduino, the whole the range of analog input gets divided into 256 steps starting from 0 to 255. It means if your analog pin is receiving 0, if your analog pin reads 0, when you read analog pin, if it is giving output as 0, it means it is receiving 0 voltage. If it is receiving 255, it is receiving 5 voltage. If it is reading something around 200, then it is again 200 by 255 into 5. You can do this, right? So this is the so you can see the analog input can be of anything, any value here, right? Like it can be sinusoidal wave, it can be anything. So all these values are stepped down, like you can see here it is being stepped down. It can have only some distinct values. Okay, digital sample. These red color lines are digital samples. So like next is digital inputs. So in digital inputs, the values are either 0 or 1. Okay, nothing else. As I told before, the values are either 0 or 1. So it can read only 0 or 1. Let's say from push switch, I told this example before. Push switch, it means it can get only like it can be either like it can, when it is pushing, the circuit is getting completed. So it gives 1. It is high. When it is not in the pushed state, then the circuit is incomplete. So it is 0, low voltage. So only two options possible, either 0 or 1. Okay, so this is a digital signal. This is digital signal and this is analog signal. So depending on the input signal, the input pins are categorized as analog input or digital input. Okay.
And what about the negative voltages in the previous slide? Analog.
See, so this is an example of analog signal. Analog, it just tells you that analog signal can be anything. So what happens here with the sensors value, what we do, this is another thing which I wanted to tell at later stage, but I'll tell it here only. Whenever we make connections between two systems, two boards, either between two Arduino or between one Arduino and another sensor or another module, what we do, we first join the ground of both the things. Okay, ground is what? Ground is the lowest potential possible. So when we join the ground of both the boards or both the like sensor and board or whatever it is, what happens? The lowest the lowest datum level, the reference level becomes same, right? So I told this before also. Arduino has so many ground pins because of this reason only. Whatever sensor you join with Arduino or whatever sensor or another Arduino maybe or another module, maybe Bluetooth module or gyroscope or something, we first connect the ground pins because it comes to same reference level. It means the lowest possible potential becomes same. You all know this. This is a very common sense. We learned it in physics, 12th standard physics. Like the potential difference of a battery is 9 volt. It doesn't mean that positive is 9 and negative is 0. No, it can be anything, but the difference between them is 9 volt, right? So the Arduino's lowest potential can be something, and the other sensor's lowest potential can be something else. When we join the ground of these two boards or these two sensors, it both comes to same level, same reference level. And what happens, like this signal, the whole signal goes above, like there will be no negative values at all because the lowest possible level is same everywhere. This is not only for Arduino sensor. It is also when we use multiple power sources. If you use let's say if you power your Arduino through your laptop and you are powering your some sensor through battery, okay, then there are two power sources involved here. Your laptop is one power source and your battery is another power source. So now these two systems are working at different potentials, lowest potentials. So when we connect the ground of Arduino and sensor, what happens? All these things, your laptop's power source, your battery, your sensor, your Arduino, all these things comes to a same lowest potential level, some same reference level, right? Hope I made it clear.
Yes, sir.
And anybody else with any other, because if you like, these are very basic things, you have to get it cleared.
Sir?
Yes.
Like if I get once, can you go to the previous slide where we have the analog input? Like if I have a value like somewhat like 2.5673 and is it I mean, how can it be represented between a number between 0 to 255?
So the problem, it's not a problem. The thing, like actually, like the Arduino doesn't want, because the Arduino, I told before, Arduino's computational power is not very great. It's not like your computer, right? Arduino is a simple development board, so it cannot handle input values with too many decimal values and all. So to remove this problem only, they are doing this sampling, this digital sampling. They are making it into 0 to 255 because it is easy for the Arduino to compute. So of course we cannot have that kind of accuracy. We cannot maintain that many number of decimal values, but it will get sampled to nearest possible value. So the reason for this digital sampling, this converting to 0 to 255 is happening because of that only, to make the computation easy. Okay.
So when we put Arduino board into battery, then if the battery input voltage is less than 5 volt, then the current no go through the potentiometer or photograph resistor.
So
Or if
what?
greater than 5 volt, then it will pass through the potentiometer to reduce that voltage.
What you are saying? You are asking about the power to Arduino.
Yes.
Okay.
When it less than 5 volt, then power not going through the potentiometer or resistor to reduce that voltage, because it is in the range of audiometer. Or if greater than 5 volt, then it will go through the potentiometer to reduce that power.
You are asking about the inbuilt, like, is there any inbuilt system for changing this?
Yeah.
Yes, there is a safe range. Like you can go till in Arduino actually you can power it till 9 volt. Okay, like basically in we give 9 volt. Like anything between anything up to 9 volt is acceptable. Okay. Basically 9 volt is the ideal value to work, ideal voltage input. So if you go above 9 volt, like to some extent it can manage, because there are few what to say transformers basically to maintain the power supply, to regulate the power basically. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, so in this diagram, if we have to connect a battery to this, then we will connect it with ground and V in.
Yes.
Okay. And what is 5 volt? Is that the output from the Arduino?
Yes, we can take 5 volt from this pin.
Okay, sir.
We can take 5 volt out from this pin, and 3.3 is we can take 3.3 voltage, because basically all the electronic sensors and components, it works at two voltage ranges. One is 5 volt range, another one is 3.3 volt range. So these two things are given here. We can take 5 volt output and we can take 3.3 volt output. Anything else? Okay, then let's get into this presentation, because the time is running. We have to cover a lot. So Arduino, so analog input, digital input, everything is clear, right? And next is output pins. So output, it can be again, first thing is digital output. So what is digital output? The values can either be 0 or 1. Okay, 0 or 1, which means either 0 volt or 5 volt. It will give either the lowest possible or the highest possible, high or low. Examples for this output, this kind of output is output to LED. We saw it just now. LED can either be high or off, like high or off, on or off, right? So that is one example. Buzzer can be on or off. Okay, so output to these things these are digital outputs, either high or low. The other part of output is it's something very similar to analog, but not exactly analog, because again Arduino cannot handle that much kind of computation. So what it does, it makes it through a concept called pulse width modulation. Okay, pulse width, so it is called PWM output. Okay, so there are two outputs. One is digital output and another one is PWM output. Okay, so PWM is pulse width modulation. So pulse width modulation is a technique for getting analog results with digital means, because your microcontroller works with digital means. So how to create analog results with the help of these kind of digital means? So that technique, like there's a technique for that is called pulse width modulation. Okay, so what will happen is, again, same concept. We can give values between 0 to 255. We can give values between 0 to 255, and this 0 to 255, like these steps, steps will have one value between 0 volt to 5 volt. Previously in digital output we had just two outputs, 0 voltage and 5 voltage. Here we are having multiple, in fact we are having 256 output. We are having 256 possible output values starting from 0 to 255. 255, number 255 means 5 volt, number 0 means 0 volt. So if it is if I give 200, then it is nothing but 200 divided by 255 into 200 divided by 256 into 5 volt. So it is something near to 3.9. Okay, so you can reach till 3.9 only. If you want to make 3.935, then you can't make, you can't exactly give 3.935, but you can somewhat give the closest possible, which is 3.9 through the number called 200. If you give output as 200, then it will make something around 3.9. So how do we give these numbers, or how do we read these numbers? That I'll come later, but understand the concept. So how this pulse width modulation is happening? Like this is the output wave. Okay, if it is constantly giving 0 voltage, then it is 0% duty cycle, and it is giving 0 voltage output. If you want, let's say if you want to make 25%, which is 25% of 5 volt is 1.25, right? So if you want to get an output of 1.25 volt, then what we do, we give analog write of 64. Okay, so 64. So 64 is the number, like it is lying between 0 to 255. Yes. So what happens? Within that given time interval, like within the required time, within that time instance, your pulse goes on and off like this, 0 to 5 in this range. Okay, you can compare it between 25% to 50%. There is change in the pulse width, right? The width of pulse is differing, so that's why it is called pulse width modulation. So by differing the width of this pulse, it is achieving this concept of analog results using digital means. So what it is doing, it is again doing 0 to 5, 0, 5. There is like nothing else is happening. 0, 5, 0, 5 is only happening. But the result is analog. So to make it more clear, I can show something like this. Okay, we want to make this sinusoidal analog output. This is our aim. So through PWM, how it is happening? It is modulating the pulse width. The width of, the width means basically here the time instance, the width of it being 5 volt. So if it is very close, then it is then the value somewhere here, you can see somewhere close to 0. And as the width of the pulse increases, it is achieving the highest possible, right? And again, when the pulse width reduces, it is approaching 0. When the pulse width is completely 0, then here you can see the value is 0. The analog value is also 0. So this is how analog outputs are achieved through digital means. Again, 0 to 0, 5, 0, 5 is only happening from microcontroller's end, but the result achieved is analog. And the method is called PWM, pulse width modulation. Fine. So now again, coming back to this, now I'll tell you the pins in detail. Previously we saw a rough sketch. So this is Arduino Uno. I was mentioning this before, and this is Arduino Mega. Again, as I said, the main difference is the number of pins and nothing else. Again, 5 voltage, the memory is same, everything is same. Okay, so here you can see these are analog inputs. Starting with A, these are analog inputs. We can give analog inputs. We can connect analog sensors to this pins only. And here in Uno, only this pins. There are 6 pins starting from A0 to A5, and here there are 16 pins starting from A0 to A15. Okay, so these are analog pins. And apart from that, all these pins are digital pins, which means it can be used for digital input also. It can be used for digital output also. Why only analog pins are having separate set of pins? Because as I said before, analog pins has to be passed to ADC, analog digital converter. It has the analog input value has to be converted to digital values, analog digital converter. It is called ADC, analog digital converter. It has to get converted and then go to microcontroller for processing. Isliye it is having separate set of pins. All these pins are passed through ADC. Maybe it will be placed somewhere here, somewhere on the board. You will see ADC, analog digital converter, and it converts the analog values to digital values and send it to microprocessor. All these things we don't have to worry about, because all these things are happening inside. We don't see it, we don't control it. It happens automatically. And all the other pins are digital pins. It can be used for input also, output also. Again, input is fine. Digital input is only one, but digital output can be two things. One is normal digital output. Another one is PWM outputs, pulse width modulated outputs. So in UNO, you can see PWM pins are marked through this symbol. Okay, so you can see 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. These 6 pins are PWM pins. Only these 6 pins can produce PWM waves, PWM outputs. Okay, and similarly here in Arduino, all this starting from 2 to 13, all these are PWM pins. Okay, from 0 to 53, all these 54 pins are digital pins. Among these 54 digital pins, from 2 to 13, it is PWM pins. So only these pins can produce PWM outputs. Okay, fine. Any doubt till now?
So which pin convert analog signal into digital signal, please?
Okay. Like it is not very important as of now. Thing is, like if you give analog, just understand this. If you give analog input, it has to be understood as digital values for the microcontroller to work, right? It has to be converted into digital values. Then only microcontroller can work. So analog values that are converted into 0 to 255, the numbers. So all these analog input pins are kept separately. All these analog input pins are kept separately, and these are passed through ADC, analog digital converter. And only these pins can handle analog pins, analog inputs. Nothing else. No other pins can handle analog inputs.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, those pins are like just like connection for the wires. Means what that it actually significantly represent those pins.
Sorry.
Sir, means what are those pins actually meant to? Means analog signal means it's just the value of the voltage which we are already giving through the V input. But what is the use of these some 16 pins?
V input we are giving for the function of Arduino. Arduino needs some power to convert for the ADC, for power regulation, for other stuffs. Arduino needs some power for its own functioning and for the functioning of the pins. Okay, so that V in is for the functioning of Arduino. Now taking the power from V in, what it will do? It will act according to our order. We have already uploaded the code. So if we see send high voltage to if we say send high voltage to pin 13, then it will give 5 voltage to pin 13. So what will happen? Any device connected to any sensor or any actuator connected to pin 13 will receive that signal. Signal means voltage. Like how can computer communicate between among themselves? It can only communicate through voltages, right? How can it like by changing the values of voltage from 0 to 1, 1 to 0, it is its language.
Yes,
fine. Okay, so these values are sent to pins accordingly. Matlab if you are connecting an LED to 6, like let's say there is an there is an LED here. Okay, I have to if I am connecting it with let's say pin number 6, and I am connecting it to ground. Okay, so now I have to switch on and switch off this LED. How will I command this LED? How can I talk to this LED? I will talk to this Arduino through my code. I will tell whenever there is like if the like when you start, give high power to LED, and then after 5 seconds switch it off, and then again after 5 seconds switch it on. So I'll write it in the form of code, and I will tell it to Arduino through my code. I'll upload it, and it will get stored in its microcontroller. Now as per my command, it will send high voltage and low voltage to this pin as per my command. So that's how the working happens. This is the basic of the whole electronics basically. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's go to, so now we will actually see matlab the theory we studied, but now how to practically read an analog input, how to read a digital input, how to write or how to give analog output, how to give digital output, that we will see now. So these again like we do it through functions, like predefined functions, analog predefined inbuilt functions of Arduino. So function analog read where R is capital is used for reading analog input, and it has only one argument, which is pin number. We just have to give pin number and it will read from that pin number. Okay, and this has an output also. This returns something, and it returns values between 0 to 255, both included. Starting from 0, ending at 255, it gives 256 values. Okay, as output, as it returns these values. Okay, so again, the next thing is how to read digital input. We do it using function called digital read, R capital. And again, same thing, the argument is pin number. We just have to give the pin number and it will read it. So now again, you will understand the importance of setting up the pin mode. If we set up a pin as output pin, we can't read it. We can't put it in the function digital read analog read. It will show it as an error during compiling stage itself. Okay, if you don't set up your pins, if you don't initiate your pins, then in compiling stage there will be no error, and while executing it might cause problem. It might cause very big problems also, right? It can be disastrous. So to protect from that, we are setting up the pin at the beginning itself. Okay, so same for writing output, analog output. For if you have to give PWM output, basically there is analog output also, which we can't do it with Arduino Mega and Arduino Uno. So to give PWM outputs, we use analog write. Okay, analog write, and it has two variables: the pin number, to which pin we are giving this output, and the value. So this value has to be between 0 to 255. Okay, and digital write is for giving digital output. So this pin again same parameters, pin and value. Pin is pin number, which pin we have to give, and value is either high or low, all in caps. Okay, fine.
Sir.
Yes.
Sir, here what is the difference between input and output?
See, when you write a code. Okay, again same question. Do you know C++?
Yes, sir.
So I think same person is asking this. So in C++ we have cin and cout. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So same cin. So here cin is something analogous to your digital input and analog input. Cout is something analogous to analog input and digital output. So output is cout, input is cin.
Okay,
right?
Sir.
Fine. Okay, so
Sir, do we need to set up input pins also? Like in the last code, I think you didn't set up any input pin.
Last thing, we didn't have any input, right? Did we have any input there?
No,
it was
sir,
automatically
no.
switching on and switching off at some time interval.
Okay,
right?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we use input pins, then we have to set up that also.
Sir, in the last slide, you talked about A0 to A15 pins. Over there, we can only use analog read only, na?
Sorry. Repeat again.
Sir, A0 to A15 pins.
Yes, from A0 to A15 or A0 to A5 here, we can only use analog read.
And sir, to use analog write, we can use those PWM pins.
Exactly. So to use the analog write, we need to use PWM pins here, because there the analog output is achieved through PWM.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I think everybody is clear with this, right?
So sorry for interrupting. Means why only analog write is applicable for this PWM?
Okay, we can use analog write for this PWM, and at the same time we can use digital read also. See, these are digital pins. These PWM pins are also digital pins. All these pins are digital pins. All these are these are analog pins. Only these are analog pins. Apart from these pins, you can follow my cursor. Apart from these pins, all other pins are digital pins. So all these pins can be used with digital write, digital read, analog write. Sorry. Digital read and digital write. Digital read and digital write. Among these pins, these PWM pins, here these 6 pins and here this array of pins, these pin can also be used with analog write. Because only these pins can handle PWM waves. Okay. Again, for creating PWM waves, there is separate mechanism. Okay. Like so how we have ADC, something similar, maybe DAC, I don't know that exactly. Digital to analog converter, maybe that might be there. And only these pins are attached to those with that mechanism. So only these pins can produce PWM waves. Fine.
So means I was asking like, can we control the voltage between these pins?
Voltage
with
between
our code?
means
voltage at a certain pin, like at 8.
Okay, see, that only I'm saying. Let's say 8. Okay, 8 here. Maybe I will start from here. 8 here in Uno. In Uno, 8 is not a PWM pin. Okay. So yes, we can control the voltage. We can make it either 0 or high, 5, either low or high. That's how we operate everything. The whole coding, the whole programming is done by making these pins high and low. So this 8 is not a PWM pin here in Uno. So we can make it 0 or we can make it 5, either low or high. Okay. But if you come to Mega, 8 pin number 8 is a PWM pin. From 2 to 13, all this 12 pins are PWM pins. Okay, so 8 is a PWM pin. So here we can produce any value between 0 to 5 voltage. Any value means that 0 to 255. When we divide it into 0 to 256 steps, then whatever value is coming, so that those values we can give to this pins. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Yes.
We can make out PWM outputs, but not the PWM inputs to the pins.
No. And I am telling you the concept also, like the concept behind, so that you can easily understand. If you have to take analog input, we need to pass the value through ADC, analog digital converter. Only these pins are attached with ADC. Right. So इसलिए only these pins can take analog inputs. These, like, you're not able to see my cursor? I think okay, now it's fine. Only these starting from A0 analog input, like it is mentioned here, analog in for input from A0 to A15. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, other pins are not connected to ADC, so these pins cannot take analog input values. Fine.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now again we'll go back to Tinkercad to apply these things, this analog and digital read, write, everything. Fine.
Yes,
so going back to this thing, I'll keep the same LED, but I told you before, if a sensor is giving values above 5 volt, then it has to be reduced using resistors. Then only it can read. It has to be in the range of 5 volt. Similarly, the LEDs, these LEDs cannot take the values given out by the Arduino, the voltage. So it is reduced. Using a resistor. 1K resistor, we use 1K resistor, and we can connect to I'll show you the working of PWM waves. So I'll use PWM pin here. So the aim of the project is to, I didn't tell you that, sorry. The aim of the project is to control brightness of LED using potentiometer. So we'll use a potentiometer. Potentiometer is your like you would have seen in your 12th standard physics lab, the variable resistor, right? That is called potentiometer. So we'll use a potentiometer. Okay, we'll use potentiometer, and as I change the resistance in this potentiometer. Potentiometer is like your fan regulator in your home. In your home, you might be seeing fan regulator, right? If you change it, your fan speed changes. So something similar. So if I like by changing the potentiometer's value, the resistance value, I have to change the brightness of the LED. So first, before making the circuit, let's understand the concept behind. What I have to do, I have to connect my potentiometer to analog pin or potentiometer's output to analog pin, so that I can read the analog output coming from potentiometer. Potentiometer is going to give analog output. It will give wave, like it can give anything, any values, right? It is a resistor. It can give out any. It reduces the voltage because of its resistance, and it can give any resistance because it's variable resistance. So I'll read it through analog pin, and as per the value coming inside, I'll change the PWM output going to the light LED. Fine. So this is the concept behind. Now I'll do wiring. So in this side, I have connected my LED's anode. Okay, LED's anode has to be connected with 1K resistor, and then the resistor's other terminal has been connected with PWM pin. Any PWM pin. Here I am choosing pin number 6, and potential's LED's cathode is connected to ground. Okay, coming to potentiometer, the center pin is your output. It's called Viper here. Because in potentiometer in the variable resistance you can see it wipes out the voltage, so it is Viper. Okay, fine. So the center pin is output pin. I am connecting it to A5, and one end you have to give 5 voltage. Okay, and in another end you have to give ground. Fine. Any doubt till here? It is not. It's like potentiometer is like a normal resistor. Like what do we do in resistor? In resistor, at one end we give high potential, and at another end we give low potential, and current passes through the resistor. Similarly, at one end we are giving 5 volt, and at another end we are giving 0 volt ground. Okay, so the current passes through this resistor now. Now we can actually vary the resistance here.
Are the two terminals equivalent?
Sorry. Hello.
Are the two terminals equivalent?
Are
the terminal 1 and terminal 2, are they equivalent?
You tell. What about normal resistors? In this resistor, is there any difference between this terminal and that terminal?
No, sir.
No. So similar. Potentiometer is just a resistor. So like both the terminals are equivalent. Okay. The difference I'll tell you. What is the difference? I'll tell you soon. Like there is a small difference that I'll tell you, which is not very problematic, but I'll tell you soon. And the center part is the output. So whenever you fix some resistance here, it should it accordingly modifies the voltage and gives out the modified voltage through the center point. So that we have to read. So we are connecting it to analog input pin number A5 here. I am connecting it to A5, and this side my anode of LED is connected with high voltage here, and cathode is connected with ground here, and this voltage has to be reduced. So I'm using a resistor here, 1K resistor. Fine. Okay till now. So let me start writing the code. Anybody can help me out in writing this code?
So replace 13 in the pin mode to 6.
Sorry?
13 to be replaced by 6.
13 has to be replaced by
6.
In setup pin mode, 13 to be replaced by 6.
Yes. Okay. So again, anything else?
In digital rate as well.
In loop also.
So one more in mode.
Yes, sir. One more in mode.
And it is A5. We can write it as A5.
A5 input.
Okay, so now in loop I have to read the values of analog pin. So for reading, matlab if I have to read something, I need a variable to store the value, right? So I'll create a variable, an integer variable, let's say input val, and I'll initiate it with 0. Input val is equal to 0, and then it is in loop. What I'll do, I'll read it from analog pin. Input val is equal to analog read, and the pin number is A5, comma. No, it's just A5, right? We just have to give the pin number because it's analog read.
Yes, sir.
Now after reading the analog value, I have to write it to the LED. So now it is, and the output going to go at output which is going is PWM output. So it means I have to use
analog output. Right.
Analog write. Okay, and it is not returning anything. We are just commanding the pin to be high. So we are not returning any value here. So it doesn't have any variable in front of it. Analog write is analog write of pin number 6, comma
5.
Input value.
Input val, but this val will be okay, fine. I'll show you the difference now. Input val, okay, fine, and this has to go in loop. Let me add a delay also so that there is a this is we add for a it's called buffer delay here. Okay, just add a delay here, so it goes in loop now. So whenever I change my value, it keeps on reading my like it executes this, and then I can come and checks my potentiometer. If it has changed, again it go back and change the brightness of the light. So let me now simulate basically. So now we can see the LED is bright now. Okay, and as I increase, as I rotate this knob, the brightness is decreasing. And you can see a flickering here, right? There is a flickering, like if you see it is flickering. That is because
100 milliseconds.
Sorry. Okay, so the flickering is happening because, like when I read the value, let's say like the potentiometer value, and when I write it to the pin, the what to say, the conversion while it is happening, it is the sampling is happening in such a way that it is getting high very soon, matlab not reaching the total the complete value. So what I will do, I'll reduce the sampling size. I'll divide it by, let's say, 4. Okay, fine, because when I write out, I'm you can see here I'm already reducing the voltage with a resistor. Okay, it means like if I give my full potential voltage to the LED, it will get fused, right? Like the potential, the voltage is high here, so I'm reducing it. So now this also, if I completely, like if I totally give the high value, it gets like it is getting on very fast, like at a very small stage itself it is getting high, it is getting on. So if I reduce my sampling stage, the flickering doesn't get the flickering doesn't happen. So if I stimulate now, you can see it doesn't flicker. See here. Okay.
Sir, can you please explain this part once again?
Which part?
The last flickering one, why did we reduce the input value by 4?
We are just compressing the value. Okay. Because how to exactly explain you to this?
Sir, why is flickering?
Why it is flickering?
Yes, sir.
It is flickering because, see, it is giving out 5, like when the potentiometer is at full potential, like it is giving out 5 voltage, and when it is at the what to say, low, like this state, the other state, it gives 0. So it is getting read there, and it is going to ADC, and it is getting converted to 0 to 255. Now when I pass these values 0 to 255, it means sometimes like the required voltage, let's say the LED gets on at 200 itself or 150 itself. The LED comes to its full potential at 150 itself. Okay, like to its full, like if you see here, it is 0, like it is off here, it is slowly coming, it is slowly getting on, and at one stage it is reaching its highest brightness, and then whatever I change, it is staying still.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it means it is reaching the highest brightness before itself, not like before itself, because the output coming from this point is enough for it to reach the highest brightness. Okay, so if I'm not dividing it by 4, it reaches to its highest potential, the Arduino, and what happens after some time, what it thinks, the Arduino, what it thinks is, like some like if it crosses the value, if it crosses the assigned value, like if it is crossing 255, it again start from 0. These are some internal processing. Okay.
Yes.
So you don't have to worry much about it as of now, because you are learning it in online mode. So when you start working on it, when you come back to campus, of course you'll have an opportunity to work with it. We'll arrange a hardware workshop also that time. So that time you'll get to know how it is working in detail, right? And the person who asked about the difference between these two terminals, here you can see I have connected my 5 volt to this end. Okay, to the left end. So when I keep my knob at the left end, it is bright. So high is at this end and low is at the other end. If I switch this terminal, okay, then this will give the highest brightness, and the other point will give the lowest brightness. So if your potentiometer doesn't have any marked values, let's say if it is having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then they will mark the points also, the terminal also. This is positive and this is negative. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So if not, then it doesn't have any difference. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So quickly let's finish off the balance part. I think everybody is fine with this thing, right? Digital
Yes,
write, analog write, digital read, everything. Okay. Sorry. So now the other part is, there is another part left out, which is about interrupt. There is another function called interrupt, and it is assigned with interrupt pins. What is interrupt? Let's say you are in your phone, you are listening to some song. Okay, in your phone you are listening to some song. Suddenly a call comes in. So what happens? Your song pauses there, and then let's say you are picking up the call, you're talking, and when you cut the call, the song starts from that point. Right? So it is doing some function. It is doing some function, and in between some interrupt is occurring, something is getting interrupted, and then it is going back to the new function. After it is getting finished, it is coming back to the left out place, right? Same thing here. In Arduino, I told you it can execute only one instruction or one statement at a time. It cannot handle multiple statements. So what happens, it is sometimes we might be needing, like it should be following some pattern, it should be following some loop, and if some changes observed, if at all some changes observed, then it has to go back to, it has to do a new process and then come back to the old place. Okay, to give an example, let's say your LED is glowing. Okay, there are two LEDs, one red LED and one green LED. This red LED is continuously blinking. Okay, this red LED is continuously blinking, and so it has to be written in a loop. Okay, I have to make it high, have some delay, make it low, have some delay. This is a loop for blinking the red LED. Now, when like I'll have a push switch also, a small push switch. Okay, push switch, you know, right? Wait a minute. This one. This is push button or push switch. So whenever I press this push switch, this blinking should stop and that green LED should glow. Okay, let's say this is my aim. This is my aim of the project, let's say. So what will happen? This red LED blinking is a process. It's a loop. It is happening. How will I know that my push button is switched? So for that, what I will do, I'll use this concept of interrupt. Okay, so now how this interrupt is being achieved, that I'll tell you. No doubt behind the concept of interrupt, right? What is interrupt? How it is, like, what is it? No, nothing is doubtful, I guess. I think I made it clear. Okay, so now how it is being done? It is done using a function called attach interrupt. There is a function called attach interrupt, which we have to define inside setup. We have to set, like, because this is something initial setup, which we have to tell the Arduino beforehand itself. We have to tell it beforehand that you have to do something, and if some interrupt is happening, stop it there, come to the new function, finish it, and go back. Okay, fine. So this we have to tell it to the Arduino beforehand. So that's why we are telling it in setup. Okay, void setup of, and the function name is attach interrupt, where I is capital. Okay, so it has 3 parameters. First parameter is pin number, whereas here the pin number is interrupt pin number. Okay, there are only few pins assigned for interrupt, assigned as interrupt pins. Among the digital pins, there are only few pins, same like your PWM pins. Only few pins are assigned as PWM pins, right? Similarly, only few pins are assigned as interrupt pins. Those pins are 2 and 3, pin number 2 and pin number 3 in Uno, Nano, and 2, 3, 18, 19, 20, 21 in Mega. Okay, so only these pins are assigned with interrupt function, and these pin has an interrupt pin number. Let's say here, like in Uno, pin number 2, digital pin number 2 is interrupt pin 0, and digital pin 3 is interrupt pin 1. Okay, so it has different interrupt pin number. So here we have to mention the interrupt pin number, and it is very tough to remember interrupt pin number, right? Digital pin number, it is written on the board, so we can easily find. But interrupt pin number, it is not written there. We can't remember it also. So for that, there is another function available, which is digital pin to interrupt. Digital pin to interrupt, which takes digital pin number as argument. So if you put your digital pin number here, it converts it into interrupt pin number and put it here. So the first argument of your attach interrupt is interrupt pin number. Okay. Second is ISR. What is ISR? ISR is interrupt service routine. Okay, so whenever your program flow is getting interrupted, it is going back to some new function, right? In your phone call case, it was the phone call. When you were listening to song, it is going back. It is going to phone call and coming back to songs again. So that phone call is the new function which is happening. That is interrupt service routine, ISR. That is the new routine. The routine which came in and which will go out. Okay, so that is called ISR. So this ISR is again a function, like same how do you have a setup function, how you have loop function. You can define your own function, same like C++. In C++ you can define user defined functions. Similarly here you can define your own function, and that function call can be given here. If you mention that function name here, you can either mention the function call or function name. That you have to mention here. And then it is mode. What is mode? Mode can be 3 things. Either low or change or falling. Okay, so how this interrupt is happening basically? See here. See, so I said in Uno, 2 and 3 are interrupt pins. Okay, so how will I make an interrupt? I have to give some signal to this pin. I'll give some signal to this pin, which will indicate it as interrupt. If I assign this, if I use this pin for interrupt, I'll know that if some signal is coming to this pin, it is my interrupt, right? If I have to make an interrupt, if I have to make some interrupt here, I have to send a signal to this pin. Okay, so this can be three types. One is either it is basically it is two types. Basically, like either it is going from low to high. This pin number 2 is staying at low position, low stage, and I am giving a high signal. Okay, then it is going from 2 to going from 0 to 1, from low to high. Or it can be ulta. It is this pin number 2 is staying at high, it is maintained at high, and I'm giving a low signal. Okay, I'm making it low from high. So this is second case. Third case is like both the things. It can be low to high or high to low. So same thing here. If the mode is given low, my interrupt is triggered only when the assigned interrupt pin is moving from low to high. Okay, low to high. Whenever my pin is moving from low to high, only when it is moving from low to high, my interrupt is called. Change means both. If it is going from low to high or high to low, whatever it is. If a change is happening in the state of pin, if a change is happening in the voltage or the state, or basically the state of pin, the interrupt is triggered. Falling is when the pin goes from high to low. It is falling down. It is the voltage is falling down. So we will define it here. So it is basically, you can understand it like this: attach an interrupt to this particular pin, maybe pin number 2. Okay, and what you have to attach whenever an interrupt is happening, call this ISR, do this ISR, and when this ISR is over, come back to this, come back to the previous flow. And when to have. So this mode tells that if it is low, then only call my interrupt whenever my pin is going from low to high. If I put my mode as falling, then only call my interrupt when my pin is moving from high to low. Or put it as change, like when the mode is changed, like I'm saying, only call my interrupt whenever my pin state is changing. Okay, so basically attach interrupt is a function, and it says where to attach, what to attach, and when to attach. Okay, fine.
But I couldn't follow you. What is mean of low change falling functions?
See, this pins I can keep it. I can make the pins high also. I can make the pins low also. That you understand? It is up to me. I can write it. If I put digital write of pin number comma high, it will go high.
Sir,
it will become high.
The 2 and 3 pin is input pin or output pin, right?
2, 3 are digital pins. It can be input also. It can be output also. But whenever I'm using it as interrupt, it is only input.
In the Arduino dashboard.
See,
signal
Arduino board 2, 3 is digital pin. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So it can take input also. It can take output. It can give output also. But if I want to use it as interrupt, I will make as input pin. I will make it as input pin.
Okay.
Fine.
Fine.
Any other doubt regarding interrupt?
So low voltage, which low voltage? The our input signals low voltage and the dashboard signal is high.
I told you this. What I'm saying, if my pin is moving from low to high, the mode is low. Okay, if I write mode as low, then the interrupt is triggered when it is moving from low to high, which means when will it move to low to high? When will it move to high from low? When will it happen? My pin has to be maintained at low by the Arduino. Okay, my pin has to be maintained at low by the Arduino. And if I send an external signal, by signal what I mean is voltage. If I send an external voltage, okay, it will become high. Okay, if there is 0 voltage and I pass 5 to that, so that at that point it will become 5 now, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's the thing now. Okay. Fine. So let's not waste much time here. Interrupt is just a small concept, and so you can learn it more when you come back to campus, when you physically do hardware projects. So now You can see here the interrupt pins are 2, 3 here, and there are multiple pins here, right? 18, 19, 20, 21, everything. 18, 19, 20, 21, right here.
Sir, in the bottom mention 5 volt and 3.3 voltage is also used for output voltage, right?
It is only
like
for
potential.
5 volt gives 5 volt, 3.3 volt gives 3.3 volt. See, other pins we can manage, right? We can make it high, we can make it low. But this 5 and 3.3, it is constant. Like if your Arduino is getting input, if your Arduino is getting powered, right from that moment, it will give 5 volt output and 3.3 volt output.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we cannot control it.
Yes.
So
Sir.
it will constantly give out power.
Okay.
Okay, and another important thing here is this reset button. Okay, so like basically you understood this, right? When you upload your code, your setup gets executed once and your loop goes in loop again and again and again till you remove the power. Till your Arduino has power, your code will go in that loop. Now, if you remove the power and plug in it again, basically you are restarting your Arduino. Then your code will again start from the beginning. It will start from the setup. This is first case. Second case, if you want to make it happen without plugging out and plugging in the power, you can press this reset button. If you press this reset button, your code gets reset and it starts from the beginning again. Okay, it starts from the setup. So on this board, we have read about the digital analog input, analog output, digital input, digital output, power buttons, everything we read. Only thing and interrupts also. Only thing left here is this communication. RX, TX pins. These pins, RX, TX pins are marked as communication pins. So what is this communication pins? Communication, we will learn it in the second half now. So till now, whatever I have told you till now, any doubt?
No, sir.
No, right? So we'll move fast. It's already 9 o'clock. So just we'll go through the other part. So second part is communication protocol. Okay. So communication, you people might be knowing, like, see, you can see these two people are communicating, right? That is communication. But what is protocol basically? Fast, you can just tell me fast.
Some set of rules that are followed.
Okay, so protocol is nothing but a set of rules. And tell me one thing, you people want me to finish this part now because it also has a task to do, which is again tough to understand. Should I continue this today or should we do it tomorrow? I thought I'll
tomorrow, sir. Tomorrow.
We can make it tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Tomorrow,
yes,
sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Fine. Hello.
Yes, sir, tomorrow.
So any doubts till now?
No, sir.
I want to read.
Sir, where will we have this recording, sir?
One at a time. Maybe you can
will
raise
you
your
share
hand.
Where will we
this
have
slide?
this recording?